My dear students, welcome back to our channel. In this video, I will be explaining the MBA second semester subject Business Law and Ethics as prescribed by Osmania University, Palamuru University and other universities of Telangana. We will go through the important questions and answers one by one. Let's begin with a quick revision. Unit 2 first important short question is difference between bailment and pledge. Both bailment and pledge are special contracts under the Indian Contract Act, but they serve different purposes. Bailment. Bailment means delivery of goods by one person, bailer, to another, bailee, for a specific purpose under a contract to be returned once the purpose is done. Example, Ramesh gives his clothes to a dry cleaner. The clothes must be returned after cleaning. Pledge. Pledge is a special type of bailment where goods are delivered as security for a loan or debt. The person who gives goods is the pawnee, and the one who receives them is the pavni. Example. Sita gives her gold ornaments to a bank as security for a loan. The bank will return them once the loan is repaid. Key difference. Bailment is equal to goods for safekeeping or service. Pledge is equal to goods for security of money. Easy to remember. Bailment is equal to care, pledge is equal to loan security. Next important short question is 2. Indemnity and guarantee. Both indemnity and guarantee are special contracts under the Indian Contract Act, but they have different purposes. Indemnity. A contract of indemnity means one party promises to protect the other from loss caused by the promiser or by another person. It focuses on compensation for loss. Example, an insurance contract. If Ravi's car is damaged in an accident, the insurance company indemnifies, compensates him for the loss. Guarantee. A contract of guarantee means a promise to perform the duty or repay the loan of a third person in case he fails to do so. It involves three parties, creditor, principal debtor, and surety, guarantor. Example. If Ramesh takes a loan from a bank and Sita signs as guarantor, then if Ramesh fails to pay, Sita must pay. Key difference. Indemnity is equal to protection from loss. Guarantee is equal to assurance of repayment. Easy tip. Insurance is equal to indemnity, loan security is equal to guarantee. Next important short question is 3. Conditions and warranties. In the law of contract of sale of goods, conditions and warranties are two important terms. Condition. A condition is a major term of the contract. If it is broken, the buyer can cancel the contract and also claim damages. Example, if Ravi buys a bike saying it must be brand new, but the seller delivers a second-hand bike, the main condition is broken. Ravi can reject the bike and cancel the deal. Warranty. A warranty is a minor term of the contract. If it is broken, the buyer can only claim damages, but cannot cancel the contract. Example, if a shopkeeper sells a new phone with a promise of free cover, but doesn't give the cover, it is only a warranty. The buyer cannot return the phone but can ask for compensation. Easy tip. Condition is equal to main promise, big issue. Warranty is equal to side promise, small issue. Next important short question is 4. What is Negotiable Instruments Act? The Negotiable Instruments Act, 1881 is an Indian law that deals with certain financial documents which are easily transferable from one person to another. These documents are called negotiable instruments, and they include promissory notes, bills of exchange, and checks. The main idea is that these instruments act like money in paper form. Whoever holds them legally can claim the money written on them. Example: if Ramesh gives Suresh a check of 10,000 rupees, Suresh can deposit it in his bank and get the money. If Suresh transfers this check to Anil, then Anil gets the right to collect the money. This is possible because of the Negotiable Instruments Act. Importance: 1. Makes trade and business easy. 2. Builds trust in financial transactions. 3. Protects both parties, payer and receiver. In short, this act provides legal rules for checks, promissory notes, and bills, making them safe and reliable for business. Next Unit 2. Long questions. First important long question is: salient features of contract of agency. A contract of agency is an agreement where one person, called the agent, is appointed to act on behalf of another person, called the principal, to create a legal relationship with third parties. In simple words, the agent is like a representative of the principal in business or personal matters. Salient features. 1. Legal relationship. The agency creates a legal bond between the principal and the agent. Whatever the agent lawfully does, it is treated as if the principal has done it himself. 2. Authority to act. The main feature of agency is that the agent has authority to represent the principal in dealings with third parties. Example: a shop owner authorizes his manager to buy stock from wholesalers. 3. Capacity. The principal must be capable of entering into a contract, adult, sound mind. The agent may or may not have full legal capacity. Even a minor can be an agent, but he cannot be held personally liable. 4. Consideration not necessary. In most contracts, some benefit or consideration is required. But in agency, no consideration is needed. The agreement itself is enough. 5. Acts of agent is equal to acts of principal. The actions of the agent, done within authority, bind the principal directly. Example: if the agent purchases goods on behalf of the principal, the seller can demand payment directly from the principal. 6. Good faith and lawful purpose. The agency must be created for a lawful purpose, not for illegal activities. Both principal and agent must act in good faith, with honesty and trust. 7. Termination. The agency can be ended by completion of work, expiry of time, death, insanity, or revocation by either party. Example: suppose Ramesh, principal, authorize Suresh, agent, to sell his car. If Suresh negotiates and sells it to a buyer, the sale is legally binding on Ramesh, not Suresh. Thus, the contract of agency makes it possible for people to expand their business, manage work, and deal with third parties smoothly. Next important long question is: 2. Sale of Goods Act, 1930. The Sale of Goods Act, 1930 is an important law in India that deals with the buying and selling of goods. It tells us the rights and duties of buyers and sellers and ensures that trade happens fairly. Meaning, a contract of sale of goods means an agreement where the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the ownership of goods to the buyer for a price. If the ownership of goods is transferred immediately, it is called a sale. If the transfer will happen in the future, it is called an agreement to sell. Important features. 1. Two parties. There must be a seller and a buyer. One person cannot be both. 2. Transfer of ownership. The main purpose is to transfer the ownership, not just possession, of goods. 3. Goods. The subject matter must be goods, movable items like clothes, rice, furniture. Money and immovable property like land are not covered. 4. Price. The exchange must be for a price, money. If goods are exchanged for goods, it is barter, not a sale. 5. Valid contract. The sale must follow the rules of a valid contract: offer, acceptance, free consent, capacity, lawful object, etc. 6. Types of goods. Existing goods, already owned by seller. Future goods, to be made or acquired later. Contingent goods, to be delivered only if some condition happens. Rights and duties under the Act. Seller's duties: deliver goods, ensure quality, pass good title. Buyer's duties: accept goods, pay the price on time. Example. Suppose Rani buys a washing machine from a shop for 20,000 rupees. Once she pays and the shop delivers it, ownership passes to Rani. If the machine is faulty, she has the right to get it replaced or repaired under the Act. Conclusion. The Sale of Goods Act, 1930 protects both buyers and sellers. It makes trade trustworthy by ensuring fairness in ownership, price, and quality of goods. Next important long question is 3. Distinction between sale and agreement to sell. The Sale of Goods Act, 1930 makes a clear difference between a sale and an agreement to sell. Both are contracts, but the main point is when the ownership of goods is transferred from the seller to the buyer. 1. Meaning. Sale. In a sale, the ownership of goods passes immediately from the seller to the buyer. Agreement to sell. In this, the ownership will be transferred at a future date or when some condition is fulfilled. 2. Transfer of ownership. Sale. Ownership and risk transfer to the buyer as soon as the contract is made. Agreement to sell. Ownership and risk remain with the seller until the future date or condition is satisfied. 3. Nature of contract. Sale. It is an executed contract because it is completed right away. Agreement to sell. It is an executory contract because it is yet to be completed. 4. Risk of loss. Sale. Since ownership is with the buyer, if goods are destroyed, the buyer bears the loss. Agreement to sell. If goods are destroyed before ownership passes, the seller bears the loss. 5. Legal action. Sale. If the buyer does not pay, the seller can sue for the price of goods. Agreement to sell. If the buyer refuses, the seller can sue for damages, not for price, since ownership has not yet passed. 6. Insolvency. Sale. If the buyer becomes insolvent, the seller must deliver goods since ownership already passed. Agreement to sell. If the buyer becomes insolvent, the seller can keep the goods as ownership has not transferred. Example. Sale. Ramesh sells his bike to Suresh today for 50,000 rupees. Ownership and risk pass immediately. Agreement to sell. Ramesh agrees to sell his bike to Suresh for 50,000 rupees after 1 month. Ownership will pass later. Conclusion. In simple words, a sale is present transfer of ownership, while an agreement to sell is a future transfer. Remember, sale is equal to now, agreement to sell is equal to later. Next important long question is 4. Distinctions between promissory note, bill of exchange, and checks. Distinctions between promissory note, bill of exchange, and checks. The Negotiable Instruments Act, 1881 deals with 3 important financial documents: promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. All 3 are written promises or orders related to money, but they differ in their nature, parties involved, and usage. 1. Promissory note, PN. A promissory note is a written promise by one person to pay a fixed sum of money to another person, either on demand or at a future date. It involves two parties, the maker, who promises to pay, and the payee, who will receive. Example, Ramesh writes, I promise to pay Suresh 10,000 rupee after 3 months. This is a promissory note. 2. Bill of exchange, BOE. A bill of exchange is a written order by one person, drawer, to another, drawee, asking him to pay a certain sum to a third person, payee, or to himself. It involves three parties. Drawer, who makes the bill, drawee, who has to pay, and payee, who receives the money. Example, Ramesh, drawer, orders Suresh, drawee, to pay 10,000 rupee to Mahesh, payee, after 2 months. 3. Check. A check is a type of bill of exchange, but it is always drawn on a bank and payable on demand only. It involves three parties, drawer, account holder, drawee, bank, and payee, person receiving money. Example, Ramesh writes a check of 10,000 rupees in favor of Suresh, payable through his bank. Key differences. Basis promissory note bill of exchange check. Nature promise to pay order to pay through bank. Parties two parties, three parties, three parties. Drawn on any person only on a bank. Time of payment future or demand only on demand. Use for loans, debts, for trade transactions, for bank payments. Conclusion. Promissory note is equal to I will pay you. Bill of exchange is equal to you must pay him. Check is equal to pay through bank now. This simple formula helps students easily remember the distinctions. Next important long question is 5. Types of crossing in checks. A crossing of check means drawing two parallel lines on the face of a check, with or without additional words. The purpose of crossing is to increase safety. It ensures that the check amount is not given in cash over the counter but must be deposited in a bank account. The Negotiable Instruments Act, 1881 recognizes mainly two types of crossing, general crossing and special crossing. Let's understand them step by step. 1. General crossing. In general crossing, two parallel lines are drawn on the top left corner or across the check. Sometimes words like and co or not negotiable are written between the lines. Effect: the check cannot be encashed directly at the bank counter. The money will be credited only to the account of the payee. Example: if Ramesh gives Suresh a check of 10,000 rupees with two parallel lines, Suresh must deposit it in his bank account. 2. Special crossing. In special crossing, along with two parallel lines, the name of a specific bank is written. Effect: the check can be deposited only in that particular bank which is mentioned in the crossing. Example: Ramesh crosses the check with State Bank of India. Suresh must deposit it only in SBI. Other important variants. 1. Account payee crossing, AC payee only. Ensures that the amount is credited only to the payee's account and no one else. Example: if check says AC payee only, it cannot be endorsed further to another person. 2. Not negotiable crossing. Restricts the transferability of the check. If transferred, the transferee will not get better rights than the transferor. Key differences at a glance. Type of crossing meaning safety level. General crossing to lines only safer than open check. Special crossing to lines plus bank's name more safety. AC pay credited only to payee's account highest safety. Not negotiable limits transfer rights safe in transfer. Conclusion. Crossing is like a safety lock on a check. General is equal to must go to bank. Special is equal to must go to a particular bank. AC pay is equal to only to that person's account. This way, the chances of fraud are reduced and transactions remain secure.